group. Okay, so I think we are in and live. Let me have a look.
Looks like we are, according to the...
Hey, everybody, if you're there, I'm just trying to see if I can see us in the discussion here. Oh, there we are. Nice. Okay, cool. So I'll keep this open. So in case there's any questions that come in, hey, Tanisha, if you're present, could you send me a question and see how I can see if I can see your question so I can make sure we're set up here? Oh, nice. Okay, so the question...
Do you have to be part of this group in order to see our stream? You know?
Yeah. Well, I think that we can share it once it's done, and then we can...
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So we're using StreamYard for the first time, guys. And so we're just kind of trying to learn it. So I'm going to talk about that while people join. So basically, depending on what happens with... Yes, I can see that, Tanisha. Thank you. Perfect. Within StreamYard, that means I don't have to keep going back to the other window in Facebook. So that's awesome. And we can answer questions here. And then for your people outside of the group, Ashely, that may not be in the group, I'm pretty sure I can share this live to Healthy Gut Girl, and then you can tag people in it, or you can share it onto Jigsaw. So,
okay, great.
Yeah. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Ashely Leroux, and she's with Jigsaw Health, and we've become very good friends because this is just really fun to feel good.
It is fun to feel good.
And so much of what we know has been so appropriate for these times. And I feel like out of all the different socials I could have done this live in, which is, Instagram and my two other Facebook pages, I decided to do it in the estrogen dominance support group because this is the place where I hear about insomnia the most. And so I wanted to talk about beauty sleep, which is kind of a funny name because, beauty, you just think aesthetically, but we know that beauty is really way more than skin deep, especially now dealing with stress levels, hormone levels, COVID, viruses, pathogens, and guess what? Actual flu season is on its way. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you, Ashely, real quick.
Well, I wear many hats at Jigsaw Health. I actually am the business development manager, but I also help produce, we do a hashtag Funny Friday video series every single week for, we call it edutainment, where we find a way to do a fun and entertaining video, but also teach people things, and maybe just make them laugh a little bit, because laughter is the best medicine. Magnesium is a close second. That's what we say. So I sing. I'm a singer, and so we do a lot of musical parodies, and we just try to find a way to communicate in a fun way, and really, stay true to our tagline, which is "It's fun to feel good." So helping people to get to that place is really where our passion lies. Are you there?
I can hear you. We can hear you. So I think that's important. So I want to drive out to Phoenix, and I just want to crash one of your Friday videos and just like show up and do karaoke or sing with you or something.
I would love to have you as a cameo in one of those. It would be amazing.
Yeah, let's do it.
And trust me, we will do it.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to talk about the different things. Well, first of all, for those of you that have never seen Dr. Zach Bush, who I'm just madly in love with his work, and I really recommend you Googling or YouTubing all of his videos. He's so good. He takes all the fear out of this time right now that we're in. And he's incredibly intelligent. He's a really good medical doctor with a huge background in virology and epidemiology and all sorts, and women's health and delivering babies. Anyway, he said something on a podcast I was listening today about flu season, actual flu season, like prior to COVID, like every year what happens when flu season comes along. And everybody thinks it's because we're getting less sun. It's prior to the time change with the sun, really. And until the temperatures can still really be warm into October, even, especially in New Mexico. New Mexico, but here in California, that we don't think of flu season until it's getting cold. But really,
Right.
what's happening is as the foliage begins to die, and pardon me for not fully understanding this, but I understand it enough to, I think, get the point across. When the foliage begins to die, leaves start to fall from the trees. It's still 85 and 90 degrees out. This process of the dying off of the foliage throughout the planet, let's just say throughout the Western hemisphere, that death of that foliage creates gases, ammonia, methane, carbon, different types of carbon gases that we end up inhaling. And this causes an issue with our immunity. And so it decreases and then the sun starts to go and we start to get less vitamin D. And this is what triggers the flu season, not so much the cold weather as it is the dying off of the foliage and whatnot, which is so interesting because that is the first thing that happens. And then that contributes, we start turning the heat on in the cars, and now we have more pollution, and everything starts to use more energy, artificial energy, and that creates more pollution, more particulates in the air. We start inhaling these things. And the vulnerable, which doesn't have to mean an elderly person or a person with a suppressed immunity. It can also mean people who aren't getting enough rest, people who are under a lot of stress, people who every time the seasons change, they get a cold. These people are the ones that are vulnerable to flus. So it's going to be extra important come this flu season to start to boost immunity, since now prepare for this COVID added to whatever other strains are going to be coming our way. So that's why I wanted to talk about sleep, because I think that's the component to this that not enough people are getting, is the sleep component.
Yeah. And we all know that sleep is important, but I don't know that a lot of people realize how critical sleep is for your immune system.
Mm-hmm. And, I'm glad you brought up immunity, because the T cells, and this is something I just learned recently as well, and I put this in my blog. A study was done about, and I can link the blog here later. A study was done on the T cells and immunity, and we seem to, the T cells seem to work a little extra overtime when we're sleeping. And so when we're sleeping, not when tossing and turning or getting up to go to the bathroom or using our phone because we can't sleep or whatever, but when we're actually sleeping, these T cells boost and they fight, guess what? Infection. They're the ones that actually protect you. That's why they say when you catch a flu or a cold, the best thing to do is go to sleep, get some rest, because during those hours, you're boosting your immunity by these T cells helping you to fight off infection, pathogens, herpes, viruses, bacterial infections. It's pretty cancer. It's pretty important to get that rest for sure.
So the key is don't wait until you're sick to get some rest.
That is the key. Yes. So then, I know that a lot of people in this estrogen dominance group are going, oh, easy for you to say, Kitty. Great. Okay. I'll get some more sleep. Thanks for that tip.
Right.
I get it. It's not that easy. And you can be as exhausted as anybody and not be able to get a full night's rest. So the key is, like people say, well, I sleep, but I wake up a lot. So that means you're not getting into that restful melatonin induced REM sleep. That's super important for building immunity. And so getting into that state is what's important. And how do we do that? So that's what I wanted to talk about, the 5 things that you can stop doing and the 5 things to start doing, right? So Tanisha says, no sleep opens the door to body dysregulation and illness. Absolutely. So, we can be doing all the supplements we want as far as or eating all the best food you can possibly be eating, but if you're not sleeping, it's not helping. So a nice thing to do is to get supplements that help you to sleep, right? So
Right.
a few of the things that you can stop doing, right? And this is a big part is so electromagnetic frequencies. Now this used to be kind of woo-woo. Like it used to be like, yeah, okay, right, turn off your Wi-Fi, we get it. Now we know for a fact we can listen in on with certain uh, machinery and technology, we can hear different waves. Like they can tune this frequencies, they can tune into the frequencies and you can audibly hear what a microwave wave sounds like. Not the microwave buzzing, but the wave
Right.
microwaves that come off of a microwave. What that's become like an impact on your cells. And I know Tanisha knows this about Dr. Marshall used to say, it's like a thud on each individual cell in your body. And so, when you have a digital clock, or let's just say a regular clock near your bed, it's got a certain cadence to it that hits on every single cell in your body. And
So
then,
it's kind of like a constant low grade stress,
yes,
just picking at you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, subtle. You can't hear it. It's like a dog whistle, but your cells feel that impact. And if you could
Mm.
see the cell getting that impact, and then every time that frequency increases, then you get to levels of like Wi-Fi, and you go from 2G to 4G to 5G, and those impacts become, I think it's a 100 times more. The frequency becomes like 100 times more, and I think 5G
Wow.
like 10,000 times or something more. I can't remember the exact
Wow.
number, but basically it's almost too fast to even like demo it, because it's just that much of an impact. And we know now all these studies are being done and rushes of information are coming out over the last about how bad that is just with 2G. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And yet it's such a prevalent part of our lives that, most of us aren't gonna just kind of unplug and like go back to the way it was before any of this existed. We have to figure out how to combat our new normal, or the
yeah.
normal that we live in, that society's, brought us to, right?
Yeah, and that's a hard thing because it's so, here we are using this to deliver this information. Using our computers, using my 2G, using my router, sitting in this house surrounded by a Dyson fan and a gigantic TV, and it's just everywhere. And even if it's not turned on, it still emits a frequencies that we're surrounded by. And so this has an impact, and not just on, and I've done a few podcasts on this, not just on cellular, our global cellular body, but our microbiome. So
Mm-hmm.
all the microorganisms that live on us and in us, the ones that are there to protect us. And we know that our actual microbiome gets affected and sedated by certain frequencies. So what can we
Mm-hmm.
do? One of the things for sure is we can put our phones on airplane mode at night, because everyone, so that's important. Now you can still use your alarm, so that's fine, but it needs to be on airplane mode for sure. And
Yeah, yeah. Your alarm still works on airplane mode. And actually, when you had this conversation a few lives ago that you did with our CEO, Patrick Sullivan, at Jigsaw Health, you talked about this. And I've been putting my phone on airplane mode since then, and even unplugging the router as whenever I remember to. And I think that it really does make a difference.
Mm, yeah, it absolutely does. I love this little input here. One of the users says, taking my B vitamins in the morning seems to be helpful with my sleep. I had a hard time falling asleep, but once I fell asleep, I slept very well. I love that because we actually are going to talk about supplements in a little while. And funny enough, I left it off my list. So there's going to be 6 things and not just 5 things to do, because B vitamins are crucial for adrenal function, but we'll get into that. But I love that comment.
Great point.
Actually, I don't want to touch it because you know what'll happen if I touch it. It'll go off and then we'll lose the screen. But on the back of my router is an on-off button. And I can we every night, just like turning the TV off or whatever, we turn that button off. And so now at least the Wi-Fi is off. The other router, whatever receiver, whatever is still on, but at least we're not getting the Wi-Fi emissions. And you're surrounded. When you go to look for your network on your laptop, 20 other.
Yeah, you see a lot.
Yeah, but my podcast guest on this subject said we have to mitigate or start to reduce the killer bees in the room. Like, we can't do something about everything, but we can do something about some things, right? Little
exactly.
Right. So turning off your Wi-Fi is one. Turning your phone on airplane mode. Also, a dark room is important. So the melatonin production, and I can't wait to talk about the supplements with melatonin. I've been a huge proponent of melatonin for years, and just recently, thanks to Tanisha, she enlightened me to some new information about melatonin. I love it. I'm still a fan. I always have it. I still use it in combination with other things. But the pineal gland in the head, so we've got your pineal, your hypothalamus, the glands that make up your crown chakra. Now, when those are sedated because of lack of healthy fats in your diet, because maybe you've had a brain trauma, which means lack of healthy fats into the brain, for varying reasons, our pineal's not producing the melatonin. So the other thing that helps produce melatonin is darkness right when you go to sleep at night. Dark, like you can't have any light, not even from the street lights outside. And then, believe it or not, sunlight in the morning. So you need melatonin to wake up as well. I did not know this. So basically, you get up in the morning, and my dad used to always say, he always says, you get up in the morning, open your blinds and your curtains, make your bed. And that's really some wisdom, because when you open your blinds, melatonin is produced, and that also helps you wake up. Crazy news to me.
Yeah, I had no idea either. And just on the darkness note, I started using an eye mask like 8 years ago, and I am telling you, it is a game changer.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, invest in a good eye mask, and you'll thank us. I mean, trust me.
Exactly, because you have them, and it matters. It has to be a good one, because I love the one that you guys sent me, because that one really, really works, because it's got some weight to it. So it also, there's a little bit of a pressure on my eyes, which feels nice. And then in the morning, you take it right off, and there you have your light. You don't have to stumble to the window to open your blinds, right?
Yeah, or invest in crazy expensive blackout curtains or something like that, if you don't have them. So
exactly. So then we have eating is funny, because for years I used to say, and Dr. Marshall, my mentor, used to say, don't eat before bed. It's going to make it harder for you to sleep. But a lot of new information, and the fact that for years that didn't work for me. Not eating before bed just had me waking up hungry in the middle of the night, or my stomach would growl and I'd be like, oh. So some people, especially people that have a higher metabolism, they tend to, with their brains, using the caloric intake you had earlier in the evening, 6:30 at dinner or whatever, and now you're running on empty. So you do need some fuel. So I think for me, as a perimenopausal woman, and I think this goes for a lot of women in this group, if not eating doesn't work for you, try a little bit of starchy carbohydrate. I'll have a couple tablespoons of sweet potatoes or yams, even if it's not appetizing to you. Just eat it. And now you've got some brain fuel to carry you through the next 6 to 8 hours, right?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I wasn't sure if it was just me, but I definitely cannot sleep on an empty stomach. And typically it's a carby thing that helps me to just, everything is happy. Now I can sleep. And like, I don't know, it works.
Yeah.
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 A few crackers and cheese or something like that right before bed. I mean, it doesn't need to be much, just enough to kind of get you off the edge, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to lean towards the starchy carb like sweet potato because it's the type of brain food that we need. Even if you put like a little bit of ghee or coconut oil in it or something, that's the type of brain food that's easily accessible to the body, right? Really easy to access. And it's not,
and it's whole food. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not going to, if you've got insulin issues, it's not the kind of sugar. Well, if you're diabetic, it's probably not the choice, but probably like a handful of nuts would be a wiser choice. But for people who, taking that, it's not going to affect insulin levels as much. Like you're not going to put it on as fat while you're sleeping, right? So that's an option. So then, okay, some people like, so I'll eat my meal 6:30, 7 o'clock is easy to do for me. We'll have our dinner and then I'll have a little starchy carb before bed. So that works. And my supplement.
Yeah. You froze on me.
Darn it. When it freezes, do you see me at the bottom or hear me at the bottom? No.
When I just saw you freeze, basically.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Hang with our Wi-Fi's. I don't know how many of you have been having the most nightmarish Mercury and retrograde tech issues, but I've never seen it this bad ever. It's crazy.
It's because everyone is doing what we're doing.
Right. So maybe it's not Mercury. Maybe
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just
Okay.
sending a little message to everybody to hang in there with us.
Okay, I think we are back.
Okay. So, it'll come
So
back.
where were we on the things to stop doing?
Yes,
We were talking about.
So drinking fluids at night. So, having your supplements and a little bit of water is one thing, but having like, whole can of LaCroix or an entire, glass of water is not wise because it's going to wake you up. It's going to wake you up. But now the point of alcohol. Okay, how many of you drink at night? I mean, so it's not an every night thing, but what happens is, especially wine and high sugar content alcoholic beverages, those things are going to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning staring at the walls. And it's because of the sugar content. It's your brain is utilizing that sugar really quickly, and then you're out of fuel, and then you're waking up. It upsets your adrenal function. It upsets your insulin levels. It upsets brain sugar levels. So yeah. So I recommend, well, let's all just quit drinking together, shall we? But until then, not drinking so late in the evening, like starting having your wine a little earlier, and
maybe
then
with dinner.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it's hard to do, especially in these times. I mean, we need to do a podcast and a live on that. Like how are we coping? Because I definitely am drinking more and eating more sugar than I ever used to. And it's like I'm paying it back with my supplementation. But it's such a strange phenomenon because I just feel like I think it's the anxiousness about what's next,
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And, there's something to the phrase comfort food. It's like, just kind of what it somehow is soothing something that, maybe the anxious feelings that we're having or just the unknown, and just trying to find a way to escape our minds for a minute and just kind of like relax.
It's just,
Are you there?
it's relaxing. It's winding down, right?
Yeah.
Your screen cleared up finally. Like I can see you perfectly clearly, and your skin is gorgeous.
Thank you. That's very
Oh,
kind.
that's amazing.
I'm
That's so
glad
good.
that the screen cleared up. I
Yeah.
didn't realize I was so blurry before.
Yeah. Okay, so then that's another thing. So we got the Wi-Fi, the EMFs. So the EMFs are electromagnetic frequency. That's everything that plugs into a wall or has a battery. So you want to get that away from your head. So yeah, we have these TVs in our room. Well, we don't, but people that do, try not to have it too close to your bed. Maybe unplug it when you're done watching it because it's still emitting frequency. Have you ever been in a completely blacked out room and you turn your TV off and it stays lit for like 40 minutes? That's the heat and the actual frequencies emitting from the screen. So unplugging things, don't have digital clocks in your room. Digital is really high frequency electromagnetic waves. Just don't have things around your actual head.
Okay.
Have that plug into the wall. And so that the EMFs, the Wi-Fi, the blackout room, the eating and the alcohol, or the eating and then the drinking was the 5. So those are the things we can begin to reduce. Using our phone right before bed is under the, EMFs and Wi-Fi. There was a study that showed that if you shut off any blue screen light from your computer, your phone, your TV, before 30 minutes before bedtime, that it actually won't have the same effect on your pineal as if you were going to shut your phone off right before bed. So that's good.
Really?
Yeah. And of course,
Okay.
there's ways to shut the blue light off on your screen. There's things you can download. If anybody knows the name of them, type it in the screen there. I know one's called Flux, I think. Flux. And then there's
On the iPhone, I think there's some sort of function that's like night mode or something like that.
that's
And
good.
I always turn that off as I'm kind of reading right before bed.
Yeah.
That does seem to help as well. So I believe that blocks the blue light.
Yeah, that does. And
Don't
then
quote me on it.
it does. And then the blue light glasses help, but it doesn't change the fact that you are connected and receiving electromagnetic frequency straight into your face, which your pineal, Tanisha knows this is the Chinese medicine point for your pituitary, and your pineal is not too far off from there, and your hypothalamus is right here. So here you are with the screen in your face, and it's sending frequency into those glands that conduct hormone function throughout the body. So we're not just talking about your pineal, we're talking about your adrenals, your ovaries, your thymus, your thyroid. Every single gland in your endocrine system is being affected when you are like this and like this, right? So, so then we
Those
have,
are really helpful tips. I'm going to start, I'm doing most of them, but I'm going to be a little bit more cautious and deliberate about that because it makes total sense. It's just things that, we just don't think about.
yeah,
We just go, this is our routine, it seems harmless, but we don't understand like kind of the sneaky way that it does affect us in a pretty
yeah.
big way.
And Tanisha said, I love how she just wrote governor vessels. So, in our education, which has some traditional Chinese medicine background with muscle testing, the governing vessels, you have several on your head. You have conception vessel, you have GV20, which is governing vessel 20. They're exactly what they sound like. They're energetic vessels throughout the body that govern your entire system energetically.
Wow.
How you share your nutrition throughout your body, your circulation, your microbiome, your enteric nervous system, your central nervous system. It is more profound than I can even express, right? It's crazy
Yeah.
important. So that brings me to the 5 things we can start doing. Now, there are way more than 5, but I wanted to just say the 5 are, and since Tanisha mentioned governing vessels, I want to talk about hormone function. So, and being in the estrogen dominance group, I wish there were more people watching this because these questions from these women come up. and people would, are we there?
Yeah.
People would be really well served to listen to this, and I'm sure people will watch this again, the replay. So when we talk about the hormone function throughout the body and sleeping, we're talking about the regulation of estrogen, the balance of estrogen to progesterone. We're talking about cortisol, cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. So when you're sleeping, your cortisol is meant to be chill. And if you're in the fight or flight when you go to bed because you're on your phone and because you're stressed out, you are not. There are people who have cortisol levels that elevate while they're asleep, which means that's in control of your whole body. So this, one of the main things that I'm doing right now is taking a CBD, and this CBD that's organic and water dissolvable, which is the only one on the market, and it's the only reason I started taking a CBD at all, is because it is water soluble and organic, is that it has, and this particular formula, which is a sleep formula, has a hormone regulator in it. So it's got magnolia bark in it, which is an adaptogen. And this is something that while you're sleeping, it can't happen when you're awake as well as when you're sleeping, which is why they put it in the sleep formula. It helps normalize hormones. Super important for all of us who are dealing with
No kidding.
cortisol. Yeah, it's tremendous. It's so
I have
good.
got to get some of this. Are you going to link to this
Yeah,
product?
Tanisha's still here. Could you throw that link in there, honey? And then, so that is like a huge thing. The other thing it has, and this is fascinating to me, this is where I'm always talking about melatonin, and I take it. It is the master hormone in the body, melatonin. Master. So that means it's the conductor of so many other hormones. Okay. So when we take it, it's fine. Plant-based melatonin to take is fantastic. But the better idea is if we can boost our own melatonin production. Now, it's really hard to do that through food. I think like cherries and tart cherry juice are really good at that, and like walnuts, but which is interesting because walnuts look like a brain, and where the pineal is. So, but what's one of the things that really encourages the production of melatonin is 5-HTP. 5-HTP is in this sleep formula. And that it's an amino acid that is a precursor to helping make melatonin. And the other thing that's in it, this leads me to the DHA portion of it. But first, the CBD is relaxing. The CBD has the wild bark, the magnolia bark, and it has the 5-HTP. People might want to know about it, and it's fantastic. I only take 3 drops, so the bottle's massive. It's going to last me forever, a lot longer than my melatonin bottle, which is like I take an entire dropper full of the melatonin. So that's an anti-aging hormone as well as melatonin. So you want to be able to encourage that. So I'm loving my CBD so much, and that brings me to the DHA, which is the cod liver, and I love the elastic guys have. Can you tell me again why it's so much better? Because I feel this particular cod liver. I don't feel the Rositas and the other ones. Tell me why.
Well, there is one major difference, and it's really all about the processing of the fish. So typically when the fishermen are out there, they catch the fish, they put them in the hull of the boat on ice for several days until they finish their expedition. Then they go to land and they ship the fish to a facility to be processed there. The big difference with Alaskan cod liver oil is that the fishermen, they catch the fish, they are line caught, so it's more sustainable than a net. And immediately they process the fish right there on the boat. The livers are separated from the fish and flash frozen at -20 degrees immediately. So it stops the oxidation right then and there. Instead of giving it a few days, because it happens immediately. It starts happening immediately. Right. So it keeps the integrity of the ingredients in there. One way to just know for sure is that the fish burps, like there aren't any with it. Right. And if you ever get a little one, it's like, it doesn't taste like anything. You can just, And even if you poke a hole in one of the gel caps and smell it, you can use it on your skin, and it's just like
Yeah,
fresh, you know?
I did that for my dog. I put it on her food and I was expecting everything to smell and it didn't smell. I was impressed with that. So one
Yeah.
of the things about the DHA that is in cod liver, besides the vitamin A and the vitamin D, which are from whole food sources, which is what we need for our upcoming flu season and for all the other pathogens, it's the immunity, right, that we need. So isolating vitamin D by itself is never a good idea. Taking it in a whole food form like this is so smart. And because it is oil and it does oxidize, we need to get the most high quality possible. But DHA causes lack of DHA causes low levels of DHA cause melatonin deficiency, and increasing levels of DHA cause melatonin levels to rise. So this is really this is something you and I were both like, whoa.
Fascinating. I had no idea how cod liver oil was related to melatonin and sleep. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, most people know that because of the vitamin D and the vitamin A, it's amazing for your immune system, because there are really not a lot of other ways to get a natural source of vitamin D besides the sun,
Right.
and some other sources too. But this is like mind blowing. I had no idea.
I know, it's so cool. And I was looking for my the little meme that I made, which says that, and I can't remember if it's one way or the other, that the the melatonin drives the DHA into the cell. Either way, it's needed in order to
They work together.
melatonin, and so
Yeah.
that's super important. But okay, so then we have the cod liver oil. Okay, now of course everybody's favorite is the magnesium. And the magnesium, and this goes back to my cousin actually, who was on with us. I think it was Christina, who has a twin sister named Ernestina. So I wasn't sure which one of them was in that mentioned the B vitamins. And I'm so glad you did, because the magnesium on its own, the Mag Soothe before bed, is, I'm telling you, okay, did I tell you my discovery about the bicarbonate? That's
I don't think
about the
so.
so the people that have acid reflux. So okay, I admit it, sometimes I still get acid reflux once in a blue moon. And it's usually if I eat too much and then I lay down. And I took it, I got a little bit of acid reflux, went to bed. I was like, oh man, this is no good. Like, why? I'm going
Yeah.
to bed too late. I got up, I said, I forgot to take my magnesium, and I took the Mag Soothe. Instantaneous relief. And I was looking at the
Interesting.
ingredients, and it has the bicarbonate product in it. I can't remember what the specifically it is. I was like, hallelujah. I just
It's potassium bicarbonate, I think. Okay, so I think we are waiting on Kitty to come back. I think she had some interweb problem. And we're just having to deal with all this because our internets at both of our houses seem to be rather
Are you
on the
there?
fritz. I'm here. I was just letting them know that our interwebs are on the fritz.
Our interweb. So that was on my end. Okay, so that's it. From now on, I'm using an Ethernet cable. I'm going to go back to dial-up. The heck with it.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. And I have like the highest speed on my Wi-Fi as well. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we were talking about MagSoothe and the potassium bicarbonate that's in it that helped with your acid reflux.
Yes. And so also the obvious things that magnesium is important for, which is it relaxes your muscles, tendons, It alkalizes your tissues, which I think also plays a part in that relaxation, which takes us out of fight or flight, and it relaxes our mind. What else does it do, and why does it work?
Well, to that note, I mean, how many people deal with brain chatter besides me? I mean, before Mag Soothe. I mean, if I don't take it, it's just almost a guarantee that I'm going to lay awake, tossing and turning, thinking about things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the most amazing thing, because it is a calming form of magnesium,
So I wonder who's. Okay, well, I don't know if you guys can hear me or see me, but clearly we're still having some issues. So
super
basically, standing. So, all right. So the concept behind the magnesium and the way that it relaxes the body and calms the mind, and also, restless leg syndrome, leg cramping, any of those things are going to be an issue for. When you have mag deficiency and you start having cramping and everything, some people do well just with like the potassium, adding potassium. But I think the potassium magnesium combination is really, really good for that type of thing. And people who have, like Charlie gets these, like, it's like restless leg syndrome, but it's almost like itchy legs. And the Mag Soothe is tremendous for that. And so, yeah, I think somebody, oh yes, I have it right here. I have all of those. I have the Jigsaw link right here for you. So the other thing I think it helps with is, hang on. Now I'm doing this. Talk about multitasking. Okay, here we go. I can put the link right here. So there you go. So then okay, I wanted to also talk about the breathing. All right. So, here she is. Hi.
Sorry, everyone. Yeah.
That's okay. So I kind of finished what you were saying about, what it does for the chattery mind and stuff. We lost you around that point. And so speaking of chattery mind, we'll come back to some of the supplements in a second, but I wanted to talk about breathing. Everybody has heard me talk about breath work and breathing techniques and meditation and prayer and these things that help us to shut off the chattering mind. I did years and years and years of Vipassana meditation, which is a very rigorous form of silent meditation where you have to go for 10 days to a silent retreat for 11 hours a day. You're doing 1 hour at a time, sitting, no reading, no writing, no exercise, no talking to people, no eye contact. It's a vegan diet for 10 days. It's like,
wow.
Yeah. And
no kidding.
They ask you not to take supplements. They ask you not to do cleanses. They ask you to just observe what you're going through. And I was doing this because I had such horrible anxiety and panic attacks. My life was debilitated with anxiety for years and migraines and hormone instability and oh my God. And I was desperate. And so I started doing this level of retreats. And it was helpful, but who can be a monk? That's because that's what you're doing.
Not many.
Go ahead.
Not many people, I don't think.
Yeah, not many. It's hard. So, it was helpful because I learned the technique and I'm able to do it at times, and it was tremendous. I was able to teach myself to run a marathon, observing yourself and not reacting to the discomfort and the pain. But that's no way to live, you know? And so, I mean, I still do it sometimes, but I'm just saying it was no way for me to live.
You use
So
it as a tool kind of when you need to.
exactly.
So that's
So,
good.
you know, then I rediscovered my faith, and now it's prayer and meditation. So I've combined the two and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But something that was missing was the breath work. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do Wim Hof, which is like a type of almost hyperventilation. I was doing the box breathing and I was recommending that. And I think they're great for certain people, but it's not a functional type of breath work. So something that I just learned from a guy I had on a podcast, who it's the current podcast now, number 148, Brian Mirabella. His life's work is this, and it's teaching you how to breathe properly. And this type of breath work is crazy. I've been doing it. So I'm not going to teach it to you now, even though it's pretty easy. What I learned from it is that breathing is not just about, okay, everybody, let's do a breath work technique. Breathe in for 4 seconds, breathe out for. It is an actual skill. Like you have to learn to do it. Like you have to learn to take your supplements. It's a discipline. You have to learn to do coffee enemas. You can't just dabble. It has to be healthy, has to become a lifestyle. Doing this type of breathing, you have to learn it. And so I really want to share that with everyone as well. So talk about stopping the chatter. You can do it right before. I mean, how many people try to pray before they go to sleep? You start to pray and you're asleep.
You fall asleep. Yeah.
So that's really important, I think. And I wanted to make sure that people that are doing some kind and a breath work together, that's like an epic combination, is magnesium and breath work, because you're facilitating the movement of the magnesium through your tissues. And that is everything, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? That reminds me of one of my favorite things that we say about magnesium is that it's like yoga in a bottle.
I love that. That's so cute. It is.
Because it does relax muscles. I mean, that's one of its main functions as well. So
yeah,
it's a must-have for good sleep. And if you are having trouble sleeping, that is one of the number one signs of a magnesium deficiency. So
yeah, that's something I always forget about, is that insomnia that's the first thing that people say, like Morley Robbins is like, if you have insomnia, that's the first place you want to check. You want to make sure that it's not a mineral imbalance that you're having. I just linked my friend's breathwork class that I'm going to start taking. It's $99 for the whole class. So you're learning this entire breathwork technique. Wim Hof is like $380.
wow.
Yeah. So this is super, super cheap. You learn the technique and you can take it when you want, but I'm going to take it with his class online, and you learn the technique within the class, and then you've got it down. You have it for the rest of your life.
Talk about a powerful tool to have at your disposal. I mean, whatever life throws you, right? I mean, breathing, that's why people say, just breathe.
Yeah.
But if you do it with intention and you know kind of techniques that can help even more, I mean, that seems like a great idea.
Yeah, I think so. And by the way, I never learned a breathing technique. Like in all my meditation and all my times I'm recommending it, I have a technique, but I never really have it as a skill. So I'm doing it now. So, okay. And then, of course, going back to the magnesium, was my cousin was saying the B vitamins. So you can't take them at night, because if you take them at night, they're going to keep you up. No matter what brand you take, if they're worth their weight in gold, you're going to have a sleepless night with taking B vitamins at night. So really, you need to take them before 2 o'clock, before kidney function starts to slow down, before you start to, get ready for sleeping. So,
it's a morning supplement.
Absolutely. So the Mag SRT, so I do both. I take the magnesium and tea in the morning, and I take the Mag Soothe at night. And sometimes the Mag Soothe in the daytime. Depends on how.
You know what? If you're having a moment of anxious feelings and you're like, I just need to chill, Mag Soothe is an excellent thing for that. And it's not going to put you to sleep, but it will calm you down. I mean, you can physically feel it working.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought up the MAG SRT because it is a different formula. That is the daytime formula, and it uses an energizing form of magnesium. Did I lose you guys?
Where? Oh, don't go now.
Okay.
Energizing
So
magnesium.
yes, so it's a magnesium malate, which is the energizing form. That's what makes it the daytime. And then the Magsu that uses a glycinate, which is the calming form. So using them hand in hand is a great idea and a great way to boost your mag levels, because the Mag SRT sustained release throughout the day for natural energy from the magnesium. And then the Magsu at night just to help calm the brain chatter. And
Love it. And the B vitamins to support adrenal function, hormone function, again, back to our brain, back to our gut, back
and
to
absorption.
absorption.
They help
Absorption
with
of
absorption.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put, can you guys see when I put that Facebook user up there, it says the question?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Well, I
Okay,
can. I don't know if they can.
so that's, my cousin says, I take my magnesium in the morning. It doesn't work for me at night. I did recommend a good magnesium for my twin sister, which works for her. So that's really a cool thing because once again, you know, maybe that's why. Maybe the magnesium form is the energizing form.
It depends on the form. Yeah, there are several forms of magnesium, and it's funny because they can all be maybe used for different things, like, you know, depending on what you're looking to do. What is the form that's in the laxative, the milk of magnesia?
Citrate.
Citrate. Okay, so that's one. I mean, it's kind of hard on the tummy because people have used it for its side effect of the laxative effect.
Yeah.
So, but the malate is great just for the energy.
Threonate is really good for the brain. So when I was having migraines, I used to take threonate, and it was definitely helpful. And then, of course, I want to just bring up progesterone because I haven't talked about progesterone this entire time. And I want to have this Facebook Live be the first group of people that I mention this to, which is that I have been formulating my own progesterone for the last 2.5 years with a pharmacist, a famous pharmacist Ben Fuchs. And it's in the works now, and I have already given it out to a handful of people, and the feedback is incredible because it is not an oil, and it's not a cream, and it's not an oral pill. It's an ester. And this is the first of its kind because we were trying why there were so many varying responses to progesterone with every person that takes it. And we realized in his studies, and research has shown, the problem is absorption. So some people, what the progesterone does to your body is one thing, and it's actually called something. Pharmacokinetic something. And what you do with the progesterone is an entirely different thing. So if what the progesterone does to you, there's nothing we can, like, you know, once you take it, what it's meant to do to you is one thing, but what you do with it is another. And that's the variable that we're trying to control. And we're doing that through making sure you I'm here. Yay!
I was trying to figure out if it was you or me.
Oh, I'm so sad because every time it goes, we lose like 5 or 6 people, but that's okay. So basically, without going into too much detail, I just want to say that what's 800 milligrams, what people are doing with 800 milligrams, the progester, which is my product, is doing with 20 milligrams and 30 milligrams. So this is crazy good. But one of the things that's coming back to me is how much it's helping people sleep when they take it before bed.
Ah,
Yes. So they're taking the Mag Soothe, and it could be the combination of a lot of things, but some of them are just taking the Mag Soothe and the progesterone, and they're having like tremendous sleep. But now, may I offer in the concept of the three, which is the magnesium, the CBD with the magnolia bark that's balancing all your hormones while you sleep, and then the progesterone, which is helping to direction it's going. This is like huge. So I really just want to introduce that to people. If
I
anyone
mean,
wants to give it a
that's
try,
like
let me know.
that's like a sleep protocol.
It is. It's a sleep protocol. And that's also an immune boosting protocol, which is the moral of this story, right? The reason you and I thought of this idea was how frightened people are about the upcoming cold season and
Yeah.
COVID, and what we can be doing now to prevent anything scary from happening. And if it does, if we do get exposed to that or any other form of flu or virus or cold or bacterial infection, how much we'll be able to fight it when we're rested.
Exactly. I mean, we got to prepare our bodies because, there's a good chance you're going to get something, some sort. I mean, we all get sick occasionally. But it all comes down to how your nutrition is, and how prepared your body is to fight it, and that the severity of what it's going to be like for you and your family.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, unless we can think of it. If anybody has any questions, of those of you that stuck around, I love you so much. Thank you. And we'll share the heck out of this replay so people can see it, or maybe I can download it and edit out all the blackouts, and so we can get the complete one. And yeah, so if anybody has questions, let me know. I'm going to go ahead after this. Oops. And I'm going to post all the different links to everything, so people can access all the links. And of course, I still have my coupon code with Jigsaw, which is Kitty10, and you'll get $10 towards any of the products. Which I get the Adrenal Cocktail, I get the Mag SRT, I get the Mag Soothe, I get the Alaskan Cod Liver. Those are my main go-tos. So, of course, you guys have so much other great stuff as well. So, yeah, I think that's it. What else you got?
Well, I guess I just have one question for you. Have you tried pickleball cocktail?
I haven't, because I haven't even tried pickleball.
Okay. Well, here's what this is our new electrolyte drink. It was formulated because Patrick, my husband, CEO, and he's the CEO of Jigsaw Health. We are obsessed with pickleball. And so we realized, let's make a special electrolyte drink for pickleball players. However, what makes it unique is that it's loaded up with a lot of potassium. I don't know what your thoughts on potassium and trying to get your daily intake. I don't think it's like, I don't remember what it is, but it's a lot. The minimum required daily intake of potassium is quite a lot. So this specific drink is made to drink in the morning. It's got all the electrolytes in it, but it's got 800 milligrams of potassium, which is as much as 2 bananas.
Wow.
So I'm finding that to be my morning drink, and I'm really liking that because we do wake up dehydrated.
Yeah.
After sleeping. Can you speak
to that? Is it anything like the electrolyte drink, or is it similar?
It is designed to actually work hand in hand with Electrolyte Supreme. Electrolyte Supreme has a whole bunch of vitamins and minerals in it, in addition to the main electrolytes, including B vitamins and vitamin C, and zinc, and a bunch of other great things. So we are encouraging people to use that as kind of like hydrating and energizing throughout the day, when you kind of need that boost in the afternoon or around lunchtime.
Yeah.
But to start your day with this loads of potassium, and it's got 50 milligrams of magnesium too, just to kind of rebuild your hydration after sleeping. So a
Right.
lot of people don't realize how dehydrated you are when you wake up and how important it is to hydrate immediately when you wake up before
Oh,
coffee
wow.
or anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we had this conversation recently about how many people wake up in the morning and go straight to a cup of coffee and
Yeah.
how bad that is. It's
Yeah.
so bad for adrenal function and for kidney function. It's really, really bad.
I have started to get into a routine over the last month or so of I wake up, I pour my electrolyte drink, and like that is just kind of my first thing. And I earn my coffee by hydrating first, and it makes me feel a lot better.
Nice. I'm going to try that for sure.
Well, I'll
I'm
send you a jar.
Okay, I also want to come out and I want to go visit my friend Steve again and I want to come out and I want to crash your Friday video and do something fun. Yeah?
Perfect. We're in. Let's do it.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, Tanisha says a quart of water every morning over
Good
here.
girl.
And she adds those amazing CBD products that are so good as well. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ashely. That was really, really great. And sorry about, I know I didn't have anything to do with it, but it happens.
We
And
do what we can do, right?
thanks everybody for sticking in there.
Thank
And
you for having me.
thank you, Tanisha. I love you.
Mwah.
Mwah.